What's up, Pirates? Wraith and Jim here with Awaken TCG, and finally, we have yellow. So this is going to be, some great artworks, some great effects, a new leader that has never been seen before with an effect that's definitely experimental in my opinion. But yeah, we're going over OP07's yellow set. Let's get right into it.
First up here, we've got our yellow leader for this set is going to be Vegapunk himself. This one, out of all the leaders, going to be the weirdest by far. Not a standard leader, despite being monocolor. He's actually going to be a 5,000 power and 2 life. So the lowest life total in the game that we have ever seen. After Red Purple Luffy at 3, this one's going to be 2 life, and let's see what he can do. This leader cannot attack, so that is another strike against this leader, so this effect is going to have to be very insane. Activate main once per turn, you can rest 1 Dawn, and then select up to 1 Egghead type card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand and play it, or add it to the top of your life cards face up. So for 1 Dawn, you can immediately play 5 costs on the board, or you can immediately heal yourself for 1 Dawn. So obviously an absolutely insane effect. The only thing is, this leader is very similar to Iceburg, and the issue Iceburg runs into is you're playing these cards out of hand so fast because of the leader effect that you're running out of cards very quickly. This isn't Dofi, and we're not taking characters from the top of the deck. We're throwing these out of hand, so that is kind of a big issue. And he's definitely going to need a lot of support that draws cards, or this leader is just straight up not going to work, especially because we're only getting 2 cards from life as well.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with everything you said. The biggest thing is just, running out of cards, essentially you're never drawing because the card you draw every turn you want to use this effect. And so that draw is going to be negated. So you start off with your 5 cards in hand. Every single turn from then on, you're not going to be drawing a card because, you draw one, but you're going to be using it for the effect anyways. So all your resources that you're going to get are going to be from your life, which is just 2. So like when you really think about how much resources you're gaining versus how much resources your opponent has, you being at 2 life to start is just such a disadvantage, unless you can really draw cards, and I guess we'll find out very soon because yellow just doesn't have too much draw already, so hopefully they definitely added something.
Yeah, he's going to need some very good support because it is locked to Egghead. And really cool alternate leader. This one definitely going to be the most interesting of the 6 for sure. First up here, we've got Atlas. Atlas is going to be a 5 cost, 6,000 power with the 1,000 counter with the Egghead and Scientist type. And just going to read, if you have less life cards than your opponent, which Vegapunk is basically always going to have, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. And then on trigger, if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. So you put this in life, you get to play it for free. 6Ks out for free are obviously insane. And then also just completely unkillable for the most part for the whole game until towards the latter stages. This is probably going to be one of your best cards you can play out early, as it's going to be unkillable unless we're playing blue or black.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Playing this off, go first, play this turn 1. Your second turn, you're swinging 5 with lead, 6 with this card.
Can't swing 5 with lead.
Another
Leader
body.
Leader cannot attack.
What happened?
You said swing 5 with lead. Leader can't attack. Vegapunk leader
Oh,
can.
yeah, correct. Sorry. Yeah, thank you for correcting me. But yeah, you swing 6 here. Your opponent is never going to be able to get value and swing at this. Right? So it's like they're going to have to swing at your leader. So you can take life, but again, you're at 2, so it's kind of scary. But yeah, this is a really good card early on, especially when your opponent is going to have things rested and you can just get free swings off with this into them without him being able to get rid of this.
Yeah, for sure. I think any 6K that we're playing out for 1 is just generically going to be strong already. Next up here, we've got Usopp. Going to be a 1 cost, 2,000 power with 2K counter. So a 2K counter Egghead card, which is definitely something we needed. And also the Straw Hat Crew type. Going to have no effect, but on trigger, up to 1 of your Egghead type leaders or character cards gains 2K power until the end of your next turn. So this is kind of an interesting trigger that we haven't seen before. So this 2K power doesn't just last for the rest of your opponent's turn when you trigger this. This also lasts throughout your next attacking turn and through the end of that. So say you buff one of your characters by 2K, right? Like the Atlas we just looked at, it's an 8K for the rest of that turn. And then also it's an 8K when you get to attack. So I think this is a really good 2K to run.
Yeah, 100%. Amazing trigger, and it's a 2K, right?
Mm-hmm. And next up here we've got Edison, is a 4 cost 5,000 power with 2k counter once again, and the Scientist Egghead type. Gonna read on play, if you have 2 or less life cards, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. Definitely something we want to be doing with this leader. And then on trigger, if your leader's Vegapunk, play the card. So free 5k we get to play out, that's also a 2k. Seemed good to me.
Yeah, no, definitely a great effect being able to cycle your hand. It's always it makes playing your game more efficient and a great 2K.
And next up here, we've got Shaka. Shaka is going to be a 5 cost 6k with 1,000 counter and the Scientist Egghead type once again. This one just going to be a blocker, which I think is fantastic because it's going to have on trigger, if your leader's Vegapunk, play the card. So playing out a 5/6 blocker for free, yeah, who would have guessed that's good?
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it.
Definitely generically strong, but and not just much to talk about because of that reason. And next up here, we've got Jebay, going to be a 5/6 with a 1,000 counter, and the Fishman, Egghead, and Straw Hat Crew type. No effect besides the trigger. Going to read on trigger, return one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand, and add this card to your hand. So really, really good effect, because this is a 5/6 that if you don't want to put it in life, you could just play it out on the board, right? If you don't have any other 6Ks, you can just play it out with leader effect. And then also, if you want to put it in your life, you can get rid of one of your 4K or one of your opponent's 4 costs and also get this 1K counter in hand as if you didn't even use the trigger. Pretty interesting and probably a 4 of, I want to say. Obviously, we'll have to see, but it seems good to me.
Yeah, no, 100%. Especially with decks like Green Uta, for an example. Getting this card back to hand, meaning you can play it back to the top of your life the next turn, and just being able to consistently just croc effect feels really good.
Mm-hmm. And next up here, we've got Tony Choppa, going to be a 2 cost 3k with 1,000 counter, and the Animal, Egghead, and Straw Hat Crew type. No effect again, but on trigger, up to one of your Egghead type characters is going to gain blocker for the turn, then add this card to your hand. So another card that's going to have an effect on trigger and then add itself to hand after the fact. But this effect, not as good. I think the biggest Egghead cards we have this set are going to be 6Ks. So, I mean, yeah, turning them into blockers could be good, but a lot of the times you'll have already attacked with them or anything else like that. We already have a blocker in some scenarios, so I don't like this card, and I think we're probably not running it.
Yeah, and then it's a 2/3 body, so very, very like situational use, and it would only ever be to use that trigger. But at that point, you're running your 5/6 blockers. Just put that in your life, and then you get to play them on the board, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Not a believer in this card at all. Next up here, we've got Nico Robin in her fantastic Egghead outfit. Gonna have a 3 cost stat line with 4,000 power and a 1,000 counter. Gonna be Egghead and Straw Hat Crew type. No effect here, but on trigger, if your leader has the Egghead type, draw 2 cards. As we were saying earlier, this deck needs draw. I think this is a 4 of. Draw 2 cards on trigger is always fantastic, especially for a leader that needs it.
Yeah, finally we get something to be able to draw, and so not only do we get a 3/4 stat line is not the worst, right? 1 Dawn to swing 5 is amazing. We're getting our draws now. Draw 2, yes, give me that. 4 of.
100% need that one. Next up here, we've got Pythagoras. Going to be a 5 cost, 6,000 power with 1,000 counter with the Scientist Egghead type. This one going to be on KO. If you have 2 or less life cards, play a 1 Egghead type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. So, good thing about this is it's from your trash. It's not from your hand. Also, not to mention, this is one of the cards you can play for free if your leader is Vegapunk on trigger. And the 4 costs we've seen, at least up till now, are going to be Pythagoras, which would be good to play. Playing a 5k right off that. And then we also have this 4/6 vanilla that you can be running with that, which would be really good. So just an immortal 6k, kind of similar to Bluno, which was good back in OP03. Don't know if this is going to be the most amazing card. Like out of all the 5/6 Vegapunk characters, this maybe is the one we don't run, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it definitely has an effect that is going to be useful. But we're going to have to see how much spots we're going to have in a deck to make this worth it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, we need characters on board because our leader can't swing. So if you don't have characters, that's going to be an issue. So this one kind of being like immortal in some scenarios could definitely be something that we might want to add in just for the black matchup.
I think it would be more appealing if it just said on KO play up to 1, but you know, having to stick at 2 or less life means okay, if I want to play this card, I kind of have to put myself at 2, which is always in the danger zone.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, next up here, we've got Fuza, going to be a 4/6 with the Animal and Sky Island type. Going to read Dawn X1. When you attack, if you have a 1 or less life cards, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So we're giving yellow more removal. This one I don't think is as strong because it is when we're at 1 or less life cards. I think NL is probably the only leader that's like consistently playing this card, but we have too many cards that are good. I don't think we're playing a 4/6 with no counter. So don't like it. Maybe in like a black-yellow deck, but that's the only deck I could see it being played in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like early on, even with NL, you're probably going to 1 life relatively late, turn 4, turn 5. Even with you taking every single turn and then having to play this, you know, it has to stick again. And then we can, attach 1 to swing 7, which feels good. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to have a big use. I like that it's Sky Island and searchable, though.
You're
so
only playing at 3 cost, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
getting rid of a 3 cost is not amazing. Speaking of amazing, though, this card is going to be one of the best Vegapunk cards for sure. It is Frankie, a 4-cost 5,000 power with 2k counter, so another Egghead 2k that we are definitely playing. And no effect, but on trigger, draw 1 card. Fantastic. Then, if you have 1 or less life cards, play this card. Fantastic effect that you draw a card, so immediately something we already wanted to do. And then, for 1 or less life card, which is most of the time, you get to play a 5k on the board. So yeah, fantastic card, absolute 4 of.
Yeah, and I love that you don't have to be locked into the Egghead to play this. So
I know.
this instantly replaces Satori in NL.
Yeah.
Kind of, potentially.
They're already playing it. Yeah, this is a menace in NL.
Yeah. So I love it. I love this card.
And fantastic alt art as well.
Oh, yeah,
I'm really glad we gave Frankie love. Yeah. We already went over this. This is just the 4/6 Egghead vanilla. Only really usable, I think, if we're playing Pythagoras for sure. And next up here, we've got Monkey D. Luffy, going to be an SR for Egghead, a 5-cost 6k once again, with 1,000 counter, and the 4 Emperors, Egghead, and Straw Hat Crew type. Going to read activate main. You may trash this character if you have 2 or less life cards, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, and then draw 1 card. So awesome, another card that is drawing us cards. And then on trigger, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So a mini Thunderbolt on trigger, which is great. But we're definitely going to want to be playing this card on the board because we can swing with it and then get rid of something and draw 1 card in the same turn. So really strong card, and I think an absolute 4 of as well.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say. It's probably one of the best 5-drop Egghead cards that we've seen so far. Instant 4 of.
Yeah, for sure. And awesome alt art, which is actually the box cover art of OP07 itself. And next up here, we've got York. York is going to be another 5/6, 1,000 counter, scientist, and Egghead type card. This one's going to be on plate. You can add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. And then trigger if your leader's Vegapunk, play the card. Out of all the Vegapunk characters, I think this is the one we're not playing. We already have 2 life. We cannot risk getting rid of any more life. And KOing at 2 or less is not even that good and not worth taking 1 of our lives for sure. So we're not playing this card.
No. Definitely not running this for sure.
Yeah, no shot. This one, though, we definitely are running. It's going to be Lilith, a 3-cost 5k fantastic vanilla stat line with the scientist and Egghead type. And on play, you can look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal 1 Egghead type card other than Lilith, Add it to your hand, rest of the bottom of the deck. So Egghead Searcher with that 3/5 stat line, kind of similar to Peros Pero, but it's on play, which is a lot better than on KO. And then it's going to be Trigger. If your leader's Vegapunk, play the card. So a 3/5 Searcher, that plays itself for free. Yeah, that is a fantastic card.
Yeah, I mean, there's your search.
Yep, another search, another draw, and Vegapunk is definitely looking up for sure. Awesome alt art as well. Next up here, we've got Lucy. Is going to be a 6 cost, 7,000 power with no counter with the Dressrosa and Revo army type. Gonna read, when attacking once per turn, you can add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. And then you can rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Then if you have 1 or less life cards, add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Really interesting card, actually. Trying to think what we're playing this in. I think this is really good in the new yellow-black Kyros, since you can flip that card of your life upwards, and then Sabo can actually take it... Is it take it back to hand? You may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand, take it back to hand, and then heal for free, and have another card at the top of your deck that you can flip again with your leader effect. And obviously, you resting your opponents with 4 or less. If we're playing black, that's going to be, you know, up to 10, right? So really strong card in specifically yellow-black, I think.
Yeah, you can 100% tell that this card is geared towards that leader. So I'm glad they're doing that. But that deck's not that good.
Yeah, for sure. And next up here, we've got Roronoa Zoro. Some people have been speculating this is the new Beige. It is a 5 cost, 6,000 power with a 1,000 counter with the Egghead and Straw Hat type. Gonna read, if your leader has the Egghead type, rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters. So, as we're saying, pretty much Beige. Instead of making something not attack, though, this is just gonna rest. This rests anything, leader, character, whatever. So also a 5/6 body that you can just play out for free. Yeah, another 4 we're playing in Vegapunk. This card is insanely strong.
Yeah, Vegapunk being able to be like, okay, well, I'm at 0 life. Let me, I'll add 1 life. Your opponent goes for lethal, but guess what? You put a Zoro there.
They do see it, though. If you put in cards on life, they are face up. So opponents can play around it, but obviously there's going to be scenarios where, you know, you're 2 face down life. One of them is going to be a Zoro. Surprise, you can't kill me. And getting into our events here, we've got He Possesses the World's Most Brilliant Mind is going to be a 1 cost Scientist and Egghead event. Going to, on main, look at 5 cards from your deck, reveal 1 Egghead type other than this, and add it to your hand, rest to the bottom of the deck, and on trigger, we draw 1 card. So, card that draws for 1, also on trigger, it's going to draw. As we're saying, we need draw, so I think we might just need to play this card.
Yeah, again, another search, play it for 1, trigger, draw 1, always feels good. Yeah, I like it. I mean, you'll be able to see what you need, and especially because your main effect is your leader skill. Like, if you don't have the cards that you need to play around that, it gets kind of rough. So you definitely probably have to run this.
Maybe just a necessity. This one is going to be Irequazar help. Going to be some of the weird ass things Vegapunk is saying, but it's going to be a 1 cost counter event with the Scientist and Egghead type once again, and then on counter, if you have 2 or less life cards, up to one of your leader characters gains 3k for the battle. So pretty much a guard point in yellow. And then on trigger, you can play one of your Egghead type character cards with the cost of 5 or less from your trash. That is a really good trigger, because we do not have to get rid of a card out of hand. We actually play it from trash.
I mean, being able to, because like, let's be honest, most of your cards in this deck are 5 or less. So you'll always have something in trash to play off that trigger, especially if you don't know it's there, and it's a, you know, one of your first 2 life that are face down, and you pull this. Oh yeah, that feels good.
Yep, fantastic card. Really good counter, which obviously we're gonna need counter in a leader with 2 life, and fantastic trigger to boot. Next up here, we've got Blaze Slice. Is a 1 cost main and counter event with the Land of Wano and Akazaya 9 type. Gonna read, up to one of your leader or character cards gains 1,000 power during this turn. Then, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, rest one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less. On trigger, rest one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less. So, This is basically mini Amaru. You're getting plus 2k, and then you are resting a 4 when your opponent has 2 or less life.
Mhm.
So a little bit different, obviously, than Amaru. You can also use this on counter, but still think it's good. Maybe not as good as Amaru, but yeah, this is a good card.
Yeah, I mean, this one relies on your opponent's life, not yours.
Yeah.
And essentially, you're getting half of the power that because Amaru gives you 3.
Yeah.
And this is 1 for 1. But it's still a cost-effective rest at the end of the day.
I mean,
So yeah, I mean it's good, but again, for a deck like a Nell in specific, you kind of have your slots already filled up, and so I don't know if this
yeah,
makes it over Amaru.
maybe not in and out for sure. And next up here, we've got the Egghead stage. We have Egghead itself added as a stage, which is awesome. Going to be a 2-cost stage with the Egghead type and end of turn. If you have 3 or less life cards, set up to one of your Egghead type characters with the cost of 5 or less is active, and then on trigger, it's going to play the card for free. So I'm kind of split on this card. Obviously, we need to maintain board presence with a leader that can't swing. So this sounds good in theory, but also, I don't know, playing it out may be a bit too costly, and also having cards without counter in hand. But I don't know. I'm kind of split on this card, especially in a meta that removes a lot of stuff. You can just set something as active and they'll KO it anyway.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Turn 1, you play your 5/6 blocker.
Okay.
Turn 2, you swing 6k. Boom.
Yep.
Okay, he can't block. That's fine. You go 1 Dawn, you play another 5/6. It doesn't matter what you play, or you can send something to life. But then you go 2 Dawn because you have 3. You play this. You restand your blocker. Now on your opponent's 4 Dawn turn, he can't swing 5 at you because you have a free block now.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely scenarios. I don't.
What else are you doing for 2 Dawn? Let's be honest.
True. I mean, early this is good, but if I'm drawing this late game, especially if I already have one on board, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling bad. So
Yeah.
I don't think they've actually introduced. Oh no, they have. There is one that cycles cards out of hand. So that, but it is a 2K, so you don't always want to be playing it. Maybe we run like 2 of these. I could see it. I could see it.
Sure.
And then last up here, we've got our second secret rare, going to be Portgos Ace himself, a 10 cost, 10,000 power, no counter with Whitebeard Pirates type. Going to read on play, add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. This is always going to happen, no requirements there. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains a rush. So a 10/10 rush that heals you unconditionally. We've talked about it before in a different video. This card is nuts, specifically in NL, and from what we're seeing in these OP07 topping lists, it may be a problem.
Yeah. I have an NL deck already made, and so I mean, when this set comes out, I'll definitely try the deck out. For OP06, I'm gonna steer off yellow, but for OP07, we're gonna be back on that. But yeah, this card just feels insane in NL from what's from the proof that we've been seeing, and hopefully we can go over some of that early OP07 tournament content for you guys, so you guys can kind of see what's going on. But yeah, no, this card in NL just feels pretty broken. All right, Pirates, thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. It has been a great time from us. We hope you guys enjoyed these videos. That is all of OP07 covered. Now we can get into that OP06 content that I know you guys have been waiting for. I'm going to be grinding out so many decks, so many matchups. So there's so many things for you guys to be on the lookout. We're definitely going to put our foot on the gas and go crazy for OP06. Make sure to like this video. Comment down below what leader you're going to play in OP06. I'm dying to know. And make sure to subscribe to our channel because at 5K, we're giving away 5 OP06 boxes. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.